Hi, this is David Stanko for AmericanSalon.com. Join me every other week to hear me interview industry celebs and other interesting folks. Hi, American Salon listeners. This is David Stanko phoning from right here in New York City on Fifth Avenue, right in the heart of Fifth Avenue, actually. We're right next to Valentino, a few blocks away from Saks Fifth Avenue and Rockefeller Center. We are in the heart of everything, and I'm here with a legendary icon of the hair business, Mr. Louis Licari. Hi, Louis.
Hi, David. Thank you for the flattering introduction.
It's fun to sit here with Louis because some of you may or may not know we've joined forces. The Cutler team and Louis Licari have joined forces, and we are now under one umbrella.
Right, Licari-Cutler. It's the most exciting thing to happen to the Louis Licari Salon, probably from the beginning.
So what do you think about all this? How excited are you about having this move together?
Well, Rodney and I are old friends, and so I know him from years and years ago. And this opportunity, when it presented itself, I knew his creative abilities, his character, and his ambition, and to have him to join forces and to be part of the same team was an honor I could not turn down.
Well, that's great to know. I'm glad to be here. It's kind of fun to work on Fifth Avenue.
Well, it's great to have you, David, especially because you can not only get great colors, but your ability to teach. About the first week at the merge, which, by the way, we're only about a month old, David came over and gave us a lesson with some color. And I have to tell you, I don't often stay for these classes, but I not only stayed, I was glued because all of a sudden we finally had a teacher that knew what he was talking about.
Well, thanks, Louis. It was fun. It was fun to intermix with a different set of culture. Your colorists do work different than the Cutler folks, and the cutters and stylists all do different work. So it's been a fun merger. I'm going to jump in. I think some of the folks remember you from years ago, but where are you from originally, Louis?
I grew up around Syracuse, New York. I came here directly after college. I went to Syracuse where I finished my undergraduate and graduate degree as a painter. Now people say, oh, well, Louis, you're still a painter, and that's so not true. Painting is an art. This is a craft. But certainly what I did learn from all those years of art school is how colors work together. And it's been, my life took a turn. It was not I never planned if you talked to me 20 years ago, I would never expect to have gone in this direction. But, in fact, I did, and I'm grateful, and it worked out in a much larger way and led to many other things besides the actual art of hairdressing.
So can you talk to us about your very first salon business? Where was it located?
On Madison Avenue. I've always, the great thing about being in New York was I've been lucky enough to be in the chicest streets, in the middle of the chicest streets at all times. The first salon was on Madison Avenue 67. Madison Avenue, as you know, was like the premier place, the premier shopping street perhaps in New York. And I've had that salon for, I believe, about 13 years. And that started in 1986, I think. And it was immediately a huge success, which was more than I could have ever dreamed of.
Now, you've had quite a run through the 80s and 90s with some of the superstars, and a lot of our listeners always enjoy hearing that the folks they're listening to, who they got to, who did their hair color, who are some of the, and we'll be careful, but who can you name drop some of the celeb clients to our listeners that you worked with? I
can talk a lot about the actors that I've worked with because most of the time I have credits on the film. I've worked, I'll tell you how funny it started. the first actor I ever worked on was Robert De Niro. What happened is at the time I was doing a Ford model that was going out with him. He was going out with, or whatever the expression is. And he called me up at home. And he said, Louis, the phone rang, I answered. He says, Louis, this is Robert De Niro. And I went, yeah, sure. And I just didn't believe it. I gave him a hard time for at least 5 minutes. He stayed on the phone. He was very persistent. And then I had to make him old for a movie called Once Upon a Time in America. From Robert De Niro came Al Pacino, and from Al Pacino came every other actor. I mean, there's probably no one that I haven't met over the years, from Brad Pitt to Angelina Jolie to the list is long, to Susan Sarandon, who is one of my dearest friends. It's quite incredible. It's quite incredible because sometimes when I start talking about it, I can't believe it's actually my life. Recently she passed away, but one of the queens of them all was Mrs. Reagan. And it's so funny. I mean, I always knew she was of course I knew she was the first lady, and I knew that was a prominent position. But I have to say, no matter who walked in the salon, and I mean, at one year I had, on Academy Award Day, I had every single Best Actress candidate in the salon, and she walked in, and she was the one that took all the glory, and everybody was most concerned with her, and I was just shocked.
So that's, it's a pretty rich history, and if we look into the future, Louis, what does the next 1 to 3 years look like for you? What is it you want to do?
Well, I'm really excited about the whole Licari-Cutler combination and where it's going to go. And with Rodney's energy and certainly, having been around a number of years, I think that together, not to sound like I'm full of myself, but I think we're golden. I think that it's just the perfect combination. There's no other man I would ever think of as a partner. What's going to happen? I mean, what I'd like to happen is I'd like the salon brand to continue to, it's a new brand, to grow and be bigger than ever. The TV career has really grown and grown and grown. It's been, believe it or not, been on the Today Show now for 20 years. We just figured out 20 years on the show, which is unheard of. Even at the Today Show, most people they dismiss. But people are so fascinated with beauty and how to at home, or our ambush makeover segment, that we always score, since from the very beginning, #1 rating of our hour. We haven't missed 1 week in 20 years. So I'm hoping that continues to grow. I'm hoping that the world doesn't grow sick of me, and that I will.
I doubt it.
You got to be grateful. I have to tell you, every time when I walk into NBC and my past still works, I just say, thank you.
Right.
Thank you. I'm so grateful. And we'll see where it goes. Perhaps a joint effort product line down the line. I think there's so many untapped things we haven't touched, and I'm looking forward to many of the opportunities that they present ourselves. I can only tell you that it's been a month, and already a local hotel has asked Rodney and I if we would be interested in opening a branch in the hotel, which we are considering. But it's just like, I want to make sure this is down and running and everyone is happy. And so far, I think everyone is. Okay, good.
Yeah, it's funny. I pulled Louis off the floor. We're in his salon, and we're in the office right now. And Louis has 3 clients going, and I have 2 sitting out there waiting for me as well. So, Louis, I'm going to end the interview and just ask you one question, which people are, so interested to know. What is the price range of Louis Licari when folks come in for hair color?
Well, the price range I am very expensive, and I admit it. The single process starts at, is as $275, and it goes up to, for a single process in the highlights, it's $600. Corrective work is a little bit more than that. Most tickets, though, are $250 for a single, I think it's $575 for a highlight, and but again, this did not happen overnight. We're talking about 28 years later from the first time I picked up, as a professional behind the chair, after being an assistant, and it took a lot of work to get to that point, is what I'm trying to say. And the whole tip to this thing, how to be successful at the salon, which I think everybody wants to know, every hairdresser wants to know, is you have to show up every day. Even when you don't want to show up, you have to put a smile on your face every day, and you have to be welcoming to every client. And, of course, you have to provide the best work that you can.
And that I can say you do. I mean, Louis runs a tight ship here. We have someone that mops and cleans and does towels and serves cookies and makes sure that the clients are there. And the customer service aspect is really one of the biggest takeaways that I've seen in the month we've been here. So, Louis, it's an honor to work with you side by side.
Well, I feel the same way, David.
And I pull Louis off, away from his clients, and I say, Louis, you have to see this color. I really want you to start playing with these brunettes or these reds. So, American Salon listeners, you have a lot to look forward to in the Louis Licari and Rodney Cutler partnership. I want to thank you for listening. I want to let Louis go because he's got 3 clients here. And thanks again for tuning in to American Salon, Voices of Masters. And you've just heard one of the icons of the business, Mr. Louis Licari. Thanks, Louis.
Thank you so much.